Video games used to be simple. You'd go to your local GameStop, you'd pay real cash, and then get the full game then and there. Simple as that. But with the invention of the internet, games could finally be played with other people online, giving us online multiplayer games. Call of Duty and Halo were at the forefront of this era. The Xbox 360 really won during this boom. But the seeds of our problems were being planted around here. You see, in order to play games online on an Xbox 360, you needed Xbox Live, a subscription service that Microsoft forced us to buy in order to play their games online. And for the most part, it worked. People were paying monthly, semi-annually, yearly, just to play their favorite games online. To 360 no-scope their friends on Call of Duty, or to drive a warthog on Blood Gulch. Once Sony finally got their together, they made their own Xbox Live equivalent called PS Plus. And slowly but surely, players are being trained to pay subscription services to play their games online. So that was the new cycle. A new game would come out, you'd pay money for that. Then in order to play that game online, you had to pay more money for that. And then maybe you gotta pay for some DLC and some expansions and stuff, so you'd pay for that. In total, it would rack up to being close to $100+ just to play some of your favorite games. And that's only if you played like 1 or 2 games. If you played 3, 4, all of them, it's starting to get expensive. But at the time, it wasn't that bad. The games we got were incredible, and the memories that we made were honestly probably even better than the games themselves. But eventually, companies realized that they could be making more money. And this system just wasn't enough. Sure, they were raking in tons of cash, like so much money. And a lot of these games are held in high regards by both critics and fans alike. But over time, the industry has become less and less about the art of making an incredible and complete game. And now it's all about the bottom line. Power to the player is no longer a thing. Greed is killing the video game industry. So let's talk about it. But first, let's hear a word from our sponsor. Thank you to Factor for sponsoring this video. Factor makes meeting your nutrition goals easier than ever by delivering fresh, never frozen, dietitian-approved meals right to your doorstep. Our team of gourmet chefs create each meal using only ingredients with integrity to help you feel your best all day long. Factor takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success. You can skip the grocery store, skip the prep work, and skip the cooking fatigue. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including options like keto, calorie smart, vegan, veggie, and so much more. You'll get chef-prepared meals on the table in 2 minutes with Factor's ready-to-eat meals, so you can get back to soaking in the summer sun. Or just like playing games indoors like I do. Factor now offers loads of snack options like breakfast, small bites, even smoothie and juices. For me, it's a lot easier to have Factor. I feel like I have a lot more time to work on my videos and even get healthier by working out. Factor just offers me so many options that make it easy to stick to my goals. It's hot boy summer, so I'm trying to get them abs, you know? So head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code MACRO50 to get 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your next month of orders. That's code MACRO50 at factor75.com to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month of orders. Thank you once again to Factor for sponsoring this video, but now back to the video. For all the people that were on PC, we never had to pay to play our games online, with a few exceptions. There were some games that had subscription services, like World of Warcraft. In order to play that game, you'd have to pay like a subscription fee. Seemed worth it at the time because that game was so expansive, it was huge. And back then, Blizzard Entertainment was a respected company. But eventually, Blizzard Entertainment would toe the line and find out just how far you can go with monetizing a game. Overwatch released in 2016, and they introduced a new way to monetize their game. The game would be a one-time purchase of $40, and all future DLC, including new heroes, would be free. But here's the catch. Tons and tons of paid cosmetics. These cosmetics would no longer be something that you could earn. Like before, you would get 1,000 headshots and then get a gold weapon in Call of Duty. Or getting all the achievements in a game to unlock the coolest armor in Halo. Nope, none of that. Instead, we are introduced to loot boxes. Loot boxes would be earned over time as you just level up, and you have a random chance of getting a cosmetic that you may or most likely won't actually care about. From sprays to emotes to skins. And back then, when it was kind of a newer thing, it worked. Technically, other games had systems similar to this, like CSGO is notorious for this, but Overwatch was on all the consoles, not just PC. And it was popular with tons of gamers and non-gamers that have never really played games before. Like full-on normies were into Overwatch. And the industry took notice. Overwatch was one of the most successful games at launch, and the loot box system earned them a ton of revenue. Revenue that normally would go away for most games after the game is purchased. But this game had longevity and just kept growing. A little company called EA caught wind of this and completely misunderstood what made Overwatch so great when making their game Star Wars Battlefront 2. A game launch so greedy, so egregious, so terrible that governments all over the world got involved just to regulate loot boxes.
This game is a Star Wars themed online casino designed to lure kids into spending money. It's a trap.
Gotta love EA. Fast forward, and now we are in 2017 with the release of Fortnite. Fortnite marked the beginning of the era of the Battle Royale, as well as the era of free-to-play games. Fortnite was able to capture a large player base by being free, but they were also able to make tons of money on a consistent basis with their Battle Pass system and selling new cosmetics on a regular basis. Players would pay for this Battle Pass that would unlock them items just for playing the game, and even gave you in-game currency to buy skins, and maybe even buy the next season's Battle Pass. This cleverly got people to consistently play their game, as you didn't want to not finish the Battle Pass, because then you'd have to pay actual money to pay for the next Battle Pass. And if you forgot, dang, I guess I gotta pay money for the next Battle Pass. This FOMO system was really strong, and it clearly works because Fortnite is still crushing it to this day. So EA, in EA fashion, copied it. They released their own battle royale called Apex Legends, with an almost identical model to Fortnite when it came to monetization. They had the battle passes, they had the $20 skins, but they also had loot boxes because, you know, EA. More and more free-to-play games would come out with battle passes and expensive skins. Even Call of Duty joined in on this craze with the release of Warzone. So if you're just looking at this from an outside perspective, you might think that this is actually really good for players because all of these games that would have cost a bunch of money, they're now free. So that's a win, right? But here is the big issue with this system at large. Developers always work hard to create games that they're passionate about. But now, they have to compete with the Fortnite model, and it's just so hard to do that. You're no longer making games for the players. You're making games to appease the stockholders. New games are being rushed out as unfinished messes, with the only thing that ever seems to work being the stores. And their excuse? Well, they could just update and fix it later, right? Gone are the days where games would just come out fully complete. Games all have to be the next Fortnite. They have to last forever and ever and ever and make tons of money while doing it. Or else, it's a failure. And then you're dead, and then you're dead, and then you're dead. So many dead games. I've talked about it in multiple videos, but they've all been trying to chase that Fortnite high, and it's just not good. One of the most egregious things a company has ever tried to do is pretend to be a sequel, just to regenerate a little bit of hype. Overwatch 2 was a mistake. We were promised a fully fledged campaign and a complete overhaul of the game so that it would actually deserve to be called Overwatch 2. But in 2024, we have no campaign, one less tank, and now, in order to get all the original cosmetics that you could get in the original Overwatch game, it would cost $10,000. Seriously, somebody on Reddit did the math. It's ridiculous. Really, all Overwatch 2 was Blizzard's way to shift to the Fortnite model. $20 skins, big collabs, and battle passes. But hey, it's free now, except it isn't because me and millions of other people paid $40 for the same exact game. A game that technically no longer exists. So if I want to play 6v6, I just can't. And now tanks are just these unkillable gods. Seriously, more and more fans, as of recently especially, are desperately wishing we can just go back to the 6v6 days. Also, the core identity of these games is slowly being lost. Everything has been Fortniteified. So they're collabing with everything and anything under the sun. Every game has to collab with the biggest movies and the hottest TV shows. And every game has to pump out new products for us to buy and buy and buy. Just look at any screenshot or any gameplay of Call of Duty. Their skins are so ridiculous that it doesn't even look like Call of Duty anymore. This has honestly bled into Overwatch as well. Don't get me wrong, some of these collabs are sick, but like, come on. Look at Siege, look at Apex Legends. Sure, everybody loves a cool collab. Hell, I love a cool collab. And most people would be okay with spending money on their favorite game, especially if they know that it's being fully supported with this money, right? Right? Well, therein lies the problem. There's so much money being poured into these games, but a lot of them have so many unaddressed problems. Overwatch, like we mentioned before, has a tank problem, where it feels like it's just one big kaiju fighting another kaiju, and they're both just being pumped with heals and just damage being sprayed, and whoever loses their Godzilla first loses. It's to the point where people are desperately wishing for the 6v6 game mode back. One of my favorite games of all time, Apex Legends. It has a humongous cheater problem, to the point where it's actually affecting the player count. We are at the lowest player count we have ever seen. Players and streamers are just sick and tired of it. Even the solo mode, which was kind of a breath of fresh air, that's overrun by bots. So people are just flying in and there's like 30 other bots in the game. I'm not even kidding. The game is unplayable. Ranked is unplayable. And you know how Respawn addressed it? They're changing the battle pass system. Instead of being able to use your in-game currency to buy the next battle pass, now we're gonna have 2 battle passes this season, one for each split. In order to buy it, it's gonna cost real world money. You can no longer buy a battle pass with in-game currency. The in-game currency that you got with real money. Make it make sense. So if you're like a lot of people and you've spent $10 to buy the original battle pass, then you completed it and you had enough money to buy the next battle pass, and so on and so forth, you've been doing this for 5 years straight, well, too bad, no more. Sorry, man, sorry. Your loyalty, not cool. Like, you love this game and you were playing it every single season, finishing the battle pass every single time. We're gonna reward you with making you pay for the next battle pass. Why? Because the bottom line is this: they don't care as long as they make money. People will always say, vote with your wallet. And I agree. If there's something that you don't agree with, we as a community can successfully boycott at times. But sometimes that isn't enough. Voting with your wallet only works if the gaming industry worked that way. But now it really doesn't. It actually doesn't need 90% of their players to buy things. It only really needs 10% of their players to do that, or even less. They just need the whales. Every game wants to monetize like Valorant, selling outrageously priced skins to a small percentage of their player base. Gone will be the days where you can earn skins by playing the game. Gone will be the days where you can earn skins through a loot box. Gone are the days where the battle pass actually had value. We are in the era of the whale. Obviously, none of this matters because it's all cosmetic, but also it does matter. These are games that you love, games that you pour your heart and soul into. You're grinding to be the best at this game, and you should be rewarded for being a fan, for playing this game religiously, like how it used to be. And don't think that single player games are safe from this. Just look at the Suicide Squad and a lot of Ubisoft games. Some Assassin's Creeds come into mind. They really try to implement a battle pass in that Suicide Squad game. Like, what? And it's not just shooters. FIFA and NBA 2K have been way ahead of the curve when it came to squeezing every single nickel and dime out of their player base, to the tune of billions of dollars. Not millions, billions. The point I'm trying to make is this greed, this corporate greed, is negatively affecting the entire gaming industry at large. Companies like EA, Ubisoft, Activision Blizzard, sort of Riot, they all had the potential to make some of the most innovative, creative, and incredible games of all time. These games were groundbreaking when they came out. But now that the priorities have shifted to squeezing just all the money out of their players until their game is completely dead, I don't think we'll see another groundbreaking game from these companies ever again. So what can we do? I honestly don't think there's anything we can really do to fix this. It's sort of a Pandora's box that's been opened. Now that they know they can make all this money, they're not gonna stop. Capitalism, baby! Our best bet as consumers is to just be more open to trying new games, made by indie developers or developers that respect you as a human being. Developers who are willing to create great games without the need to monetize every single thing. Indie developers like Brainwash Gang, who made the game Friends vs. Friends. They're super against pay to play. They want you just to enjoy the game as is. And it's fantastic. FromSoft could easily just monetize everything and make billions of dollars, but they don't because they're dope. Shout out the developers of Baldur's Gate. Like, they could have easily just created nonstop DLC, pay to win stuff. Like, it could have been a whole thing, but they didn't. And that's great. There's plenty of great games out there and plenty of games that respect you as a person and not just as a consumer. So maybe it's time for us to just pass on from these battle passes and finally give the power back to the player. Or we can just buy more CS packs. I want to get that $1,000 knife. Let's go!